Hey there, Daniel here from Smart Home Perfected. There's a lot of talk these days about privacy from a home security camera perspective. Either people being able to access other people's video feeds through data breaches, or governments being able to access people's video feeds through data sharing agreements. In today's video, we're reviewing the Zoraka Homam 64 gig, which has a privacy first angle. What's interesting about this camera is it's a mixture of a security camera and a nanny camera, so there are some interesting features to cover both use cases. There are also some key differentiators between this camera and other Wi-Fi cameras on the market today. The first one, as I mentioned, is privacy. For live remote viewing of camera footage and intelligent notifications, unless you have a dedicated DVR or an NVR, raw video feeds are typically synced to cloud servers. This has resulted, as I mentioned, in data leaks in the past, where people have been able to access other people's video feeds, or through data sharing agreements, government agencies have been able to access people's feeds without their permission. With the Homam device, it looks to get around this by encrypting the video feed so that only you can access it. This is done when you initially set up the device. A private key is paired from your phone to the camera. So then when you are out and you want to seek the remote video feeds, it travels through the cloud server, but it travels through there encrypted. So no one can snoop in and view the feeds. This type of video encryption for Wi-Fi cameras isn't typical in the industry, which is why this is an interesting camera to review. In addition, there are no monthly subscription fees for the camera, which again, a lot of cloud providers are charging. This is typically for either cloud storage or for access to kind of artificial intelligence, AI notifications. So there's none of that with this device. Everything is on camera. Again, because it's encrypted on camera, nothing can happen in the cloud. Another thing worth noting is the camera has, in this case, 64 gigs local storage, which means you can access continuous video feeds and track back days through the timeline. What's good about that as well is if there's a particular event that you want to track back to, you catch the start of the event, which is a problem for other cloud camera providers where you only capture half of it once it's triggered by motion detection. Particularly important for the nanny cam use case, the device can work without an active internet connection. So if your internet drops, you can still access the live feeds and the live audio feeds for the nanny cam. There's definitely a lot going for this camera. We're going to unbox it, do a deep dive into the features, test it out, and then finally give you a list of pros and cons that we gleaned from the testing. Links to the product are in the description below. Zoraka provided this camera to us free of charge for the purposes of this review. That being said, it in no way impacts the honesty of the review itself. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up below, subscribe to our channel for more smart home and home security content, or leave a comment below. Let's begin. So the Homam has a full HD resolution of 1920 by 1080 with a lens size of 2.39mm. It offers a pretty decent field of view. It's 134 degrees on the horizontal, so it's quite wide angle in terms of the lens. It also has 8 infrared sensors for night vision. The device also comes with a speaker and microphone, which we'll go through in a few minutes. The device itself comes with a magnetic base, nice kind of sturdy aluminium body, pretty stylish, I suppose, kind of an eyeball shape. You do get 30 frames per second in the video recordings. 64 gigs of storage, which should give you ample storage capacity to track back over a few days. You also get a charging cable along with some ferrite rings to reduce any potential radio noise. There's a cleaning cloth for the device as well to keep the front of it clean. There are some instructions with it, not a huge amount. More instructions are online if needed. It also comes with a power supply as required. There's also a mounting bracket and mounting screws, and that's magnetic as well to attach to the base. There's no optical zoom, but there is digital zoom within the app itself up to 8x. For two-way audio, there's two 1-watt speakers built into the device itself, along with 2 omnidirectional stereo microphones to pick up any noise. Okay, onto the app setup. So we set this up on both an Android and an iOS device. As I mentioned, Bluetooth is needed to initially sync the device and exchange private keys for that encryption process. Once it's paired and you update the software, then you're in. If you want to access it remotely, you'll need to set up an account on the Homam cloud, and essentially we just walk through these steps. Once you confirm the email address exists, then you're in, and you can access the feeds remotely. And this is a quick look at the setup. So we'll jump into some of the features. So pretty decent image, as you can see there. So this is it on the iOS device. There's a few different modes. So this is the view mode. You can pinch zoom. You can change from low quality to high quality, and you can see the timeline below. It's not a 4K resolution. It's 1920 by 1080. So as you can see, when I zoom into the painting on the wall, it gets a bit grainy. There's a nanny mode, which has two settings. The first one is an audio monitor. So if you turn your screen off of your phone, you'll still be able to hear the sounds coming through your phone via this audio monitor. And as I mentioned, it's quite sensitive in terms of the microphone. The second one is a motion sensitivity. So if there's any significant movements in front of the screen, you'll get a notification. Those notifications, as I mentioned, are lightning fast when I tested them. There's also a guard mode, which has this idea of intelligent detection, and it's supposed to be able to figure out whether something is an unusual occurrence or not, and then notify you based off that. It was a bit hit and miss, this intelligent detection, and it probably could do with some sensitivity settings. Then finally, there's also a capture mode where you can capture snapshots or capture videos, which you can then send off. So there's a quick look. You can see the timeline here, and it takes screen grabs of the movement. So this is all part of that intelligent detection. We got a few false positives. Well, whether they're false positives or not, it picked up the robot vacuum, for example. So that's a quick look through of me walking through, and then it picks up me in the thumbnail. A quick demo of the notification by simply walking through. The ping on the phone happens within a second on the local network. We did get false positives on the notification, so as I mentioned, the robot vacuum triggered it quite a lot. You can have a quick look at the night vision here as well. The car headlights shadow moving across the wall actually triggered the notification as well, which I would deem as a false positive. These are the 8 infrared sensors built in. Finally, let's have a look at the pros and cons for the device. On the pro side, as I mentioned, the fact that you have end-to-end encryption is a huge plus and a huge positive. There's a decent amount of storage on this device as well, so you have the ability to track through timelines, and you can catch the start of clips, which is hugely important. You have all the features with the device as well. No monthly subscriptions or anything like that tying you in. So again, that's a benefit in the long run. When we tested it out, the notifications were extremely fast, under 1 second in certain cases, completely different to cloud-based cameras where you might be waiting 5, 6, 10 seconds to actually get the ping on your phone. Again, even faster if you're on the same Wi-Fi network, but it was still actually quite fast even when you're off that. Worth noting, it's a nice camera, nice product. It's a solid build, it's stylish, aluminium body, the magnetic base is quite nice. So yeah, it'll look pretty good. And finally, when we tested it out, the audio mic was ridiculously sensitive. It was picking up a dog that was across the street barking. So it really does collect everything around it. On the con side, no getting away from the fact that this is an expensive device. At the moment, it's retailing at around the $399 mark. So it is expensive compared to other security cameras in the market. That being said, it has more features than probably a lot of those security cameras, but I think that's just something you'll need to weigh up whether you're willing to stretch the extra bit on the price point. It's a new brand, Zuraka, or not so much it's a new brand, it's not as well known as the household brands from a security camera perspective. So that's something to consider as well. I know certain people are looking for the I suppose the longevity of the big brands and the reputation of the big brands. Zoraca is a smaller brand, I suppose, in the general scheme of things. On the resolution side, I think at the price point, I was hoping for 4K. It's not 4K. It's an interesting one, this, because it's an indoor camera, you probably don't need ridiculously high resolution compared to if it was outdoor and you really needed to pinch and zoom in on imagery. That being said, I did think it would be, I suppose, a higher level of detail when you do zoom in. So that's just something that came to mind. On the detection piece, the guard detection probably could do with some additional settings or sensitivity tweaking. It was interesting when we were testing it out that certain times it was notifying you, other times it wasn't notifying you. There was a couple of false notifications or false detections without the ability to actually tweak the settings. So that's possibly an add-on that they could look at. On the app side, we installed this on both Android and Apple. We found that the Apple side of the device worked a little bit better. It wasn't feature parity between both Android and iOS apps. And I believe that's a case of them adding features to the Apple app first and then bringing in the features after to Android. So that's just something small that we found. And then finally, just a little point to note, which is that there's no off button on the camera. There's no way to turn it off without unplugging it, which is a little bit of a drag because at certain times I did want to turn off the feed, even though it is all local. Sometimes you still just want to turn it off without unplugging it, so that would be a nice feature for them to add. Overall, really enjoyed testing out the Homam 64 gig. It definitely has some very unique features. The privacy first piece interested me a lot, particularly with the way things are going at the moment on the privacy side. The fact that it is local storage, the fact that there's no monthly subscription fees. There's a lot going for this. So yeah, really enjoyed testing this product out. If you like the video, give us a thumbs up below. Drop a comment if you've any thoughts, or please subscribe to the channel for more content. See you in the next video.